Welcome back to TV5 News at 9. It is time now for Education Matters. We are here with Dr. Craig Douglas. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you, Dr. Douglas?
I'm well, Colette. Thanks for asking. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm so excited that you're here today because we really need to talk about this. For students, for parents and teachers, it really has been a difficult week since the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. We are all really grieving with that community there. And today we're going to be talking about how we can discuss with our kids about this tragedy. So Dr. Douglas, it's really a hard conversation to have with your kids. I know I had to have it, and you still have to continue to have it, but why is it so important that we as parents start this conversation?
Well, first, Colette, I'm not an expert on this topic. I'm simply not, and I'm not trying to tell people anything of what to do other than to offer encouragement to try and do something. And I have looked at the web and found many resources, and there's some themes that pop out to me, Colette. First of all, initiate a conversation with your child or your children at home. And it's tough. It's one of those conversations that none of us want to have. But by taking that step forward and having a conversation about the incident, about the tragedy, it will provide an opportunity for open lines of communication to surface on this very, very tough subject. And I think that possibly some questions will be posed that will help lead the conversation and help frame a dialogue that will put maybe some fears to rest for the child, and perhaps be able to monitor moving forward those fears.
And it's so heartbreaking, Dr. Douglas, that we even have to have this conversation. But you know, when kids hear about it, they see it on the news, they're talking about it, their friends are talking about it, they start to have questions. So how can we talk with our kids when they have questions? How do we respond?
Well, I think it's important to listen, like I said, and then if questions are posed that the parents or the grandparents are having with the child that they don't know the answer to, be upfront and tell them they don't know, and then research it and try to find the answer. One of the best sources for some of these questions are the local schools. Every local school has a plan. Every local school has practiced. It was just a couple weeks ago, Colette, I was at Washington Elementary in Bay City, and they practiced in a first grade room a lockdown procedure, and it was very orderly. The children were not upset. The teacher was very, very calm. Many times the local school is a great resource to calm some fears. We know from the events and the reporting that it was an unlocked door that led to the perpetrator coming into the school. Just hearing how local schools make sure doors are secured is comforting in itself. That may sound pretty simple, but it's a basic premise that school safety is built upon.
That's right. I think that's an important topic there, to let them know that, you know, your school's doors are closed, they're locked, and they're going to make sure that everyone's safe inside there. Dr. Douglas, you know, it seems like whenever these tragic events happen, it feels like it's at top of everyone's mind for a few weeks, and then people just start to move on. But why is it so important that we really check back in with our kids after some time has passed?
Well, I think it's thoughtful to check in periodically to see how the children are doing and reacting, see what the quote temperature is at school in terms of what are kinds of conversations going on. And often I say it depends on the age of the child, the grade of the child, but many times we assume younger children are not thinking about these things. But I just told you I was in a first grade room where they practiced the lockdown drill. So it's really children of all ages. Having that check-in periodically, I think, helps create a balance. It helps create confidence and builds understanding to continue to move forward. Because the bottom line is we need to keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep plowing ahead. We need to learn from our past, but we need to plan for our future.
Yeah, you know, Dr. Douglas, that's so true. And it wasn't really that long ago that we were mourning those that we lost at Oxford High School right here in Michigan. Now, these tragedies can really hit hard for so many, not just students. So what advice do you have for parents and teachers who are also processing this? I know I've had some friends, parents who said, you know, after this happened, they're keeping their kids home for a little while. They were scared, you know, they didn't know what was going to happen. So what advice do you have for parents and teachers?
Well, in general, we've got to just keep pressing on and persevere. We need to keep learning and improving practices. I will tell you, over the last 10 years of my superintendency in Carleton, we did many, many upgrades and improvements. I remember saying out loud at one time, Colette, and you know, I probably shouldn't admit this, but I remember saying out loud, we'll never have cameras in our school, because we just felt like we were almost bulletproof to any kind of possible problems or tragedies. Well, then soon we realized, and the tipping point for me was Columbine. That was a real eye-opener. And soon we did add security cameras, and we did improve our practices in terms of making sure our outside doors were locked and secured. These things, we just need to persevere and keep learning and keep improving, and trust our local law enforcement to work with our local school leaders. They do a great job. They're very committed. They're not perfect. They learn and they relay improvements back to the local schools. And in general, it makes everyone more informed and, most importantly, safer.
I know, Dr. Douglas, what's helped me a lot and my little ones is just letting them know, giving them lots of hugs and kisses, letting them know how much they're loved and that we're here to talk and we're here for comfort as well. That's very, very important. Dr. Douglas, we really appreciate these tips that you brought to us today. Thank you for your advice.
Thank you, Colette. Be well.
You as well. Thank you, Dr. Douglas. Appreciate you so much. For more information about today's topic, check out the lifestyle page at WNEM.com.